At this point, I'd like to open the meeting of the Carver Conservation Commission for July 8th, 2020. First order of business is reorganization. Oh, there's something to put on here. Patrick Garrard, work at 110.
Yes. Is he here? Oh, he's here.
He's here.
Yep. Yep, you can right
Sign in.
there and sign
You
in.
would?
I had to make my own sheet. I forgot to run one off.
Put your fingerprint on it.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. So basically, I just had a question about my property. When I look at the as-built here, it appears to be like there's an isolated wetland in the middle of my woods.
He lives on High Street,
Do you have
110
Do you
High
have
Street.
any info?
I don't have a plan to see.
Wait,
He's coming in. Just
You added a garage onto that house some years ago, right?
No, I just moved there.
Oh, okay, okay, some,
There's no garage.
110, I'm pretty sure a garage was added on though. But I don't know if we ever checked to see if there are any wetlands behind.
Was 110 the one with the did Jamie Emerson build the house?
Yes.
Okay, that was the one I
Okay.
think way when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I think, and there was an issue with that, but it ended up to be okay, because he filed and all that, so I think it might be that one.
Okay,
I'm not
well,
really sure.
we'd have to get the plans and look at it,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, so what Patrick wanted to discuss was he wants to do some stuff, but he just wanted to see, what he can do. I wasn't really sure what it was he wanted to do.
So basically, I wanted to like expand my backyard and possibly put in a pool, but I'm not sure if this is actually considered a wetland or not. Because according to this, it's isolated wetland.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
if I look on the U.S. Fish and Wildlife website, I don't see anything where
Where'd
it
you go?
shows
Yeah.
all the wetlands.
Yeah,
in
Fish and
town.
Wildlife, I
Well,
don't think would show
we
it.
do protect isolated wetlands.
Yeah,
The bylaw protects
Yeah, but
us.
why don't you go take a look at it and see what you think,
Yeah.
and then you
We
can let us
will.
know, or we can all go, they can all go take a look at it.
How much room do you think you have, like offset from the wetland where you could, I mean, you'd be within 100 feet if you wanted to do what you wanted to do?
Everything looks like it's within 100 feet of this wetland from the proximity of where it is in my backyard.
Yeah,
It's kind of in like a random spot. I don't even know how it's actually a wetland. You know what I mean? It's just a weird spot.
do you have a copy of the plot plan with you?
I do, yeah.
Would you share that with us for the moment and?
yeah,
press-
so, it was identified as a wetland,
Yeah, and-
an isolated wetland.
And it
Some-
looks like a reservoir to the side.
Right.
Right.
It's a bog reservoir right to the side of the property, too.
Oh, there is. And you have a bog next to you?
There's one next to me. This was what
Mhm.
I'm guessing is an isolated wetland.
Okay,
And you have bogs near you too?
There is. There's a bog over here. There's
Uh-huh.
a man-made irrigation reservoir here and a stream that goes back. So I guess,
Okay.
so I guess anything within 100 feet of that,
Yeah,
I would need a permit, but
right.
I don't.
That one looks a little funny, doesn't it?
it does, it's obviously a very small wetland, but
Yeah.
we'd have to look at it.
Take a look at it.
Yeah, we should go take a look.
The way that's located, because I mean, I could see the stream, but it's like a little,
Like I say, yeah, it's just like a random area just in the middle of the backyard.
can you see anything? It looks
I can
like
see, yeah,
there's
see it.
water or anything?
Sometimes there is water there, but a lot of the times it's dry.
Mhm.
So then like another question that I have with that, if we're expanding, even if any tree that I want to take down within 100 feet of this would be within 100 feet of this, and then 100 feet of this.
Mm-hmm.
And all these trees, they're big, they're like 90-foot pines that are in proximity to my house. which
Yeah.
I'm afraid if a windstorm comes, it's gonna take
Yeah.
out a portion of my house.
Yeah,
You know
well,
what I mean?
we could look at those when we go out, because we have, people do come in informally, and we go and take a look, and if it is any kind of a safety issue, then we have no problems with it. But, to kind of review or something like that,
Yeah.
is a little different, so we could take a look at the trees.
Safety overrides most other concerns.
Yeah.
Unless there's a danger of erosion when they're cut, but it doesn't look like there's anything.
Part of the bog, it goes from the pond to the irrigation.
You know who owns that bog? You know the,
I don't know, I think they said his name was,
What's my name?
Peck.
Yeah, George Peck.
That's what his name was.
Okay, so that's an intermittent stream, so he's got an intermittent stream that kind of crosses onto his property.
Mhm.
So that pushes it out even further.
So that's, yeah, so the setback from that would be.
On the south side of the street.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean you can't do anything, it just means, you know, if it's within 100 feet, you'd have to file a notice of intent with us. And then we look to see what we want to do, you could have somebody, I don't know if you're working with an
Somebody's back
engineer.
in here
or
somewhere.
something.
Where's the,
Right there.
there's no north indicator.
You're looking west.
What side of this High Street are you on? Are you
Zoom
on
in.
the,
It's this house.
is this the side toward
Right?
Route
That's the
44?
reservoir
Yes.
Right next to it. But there's
So
also an
that's
intermittent
roughly
stream
north.
that runs through here.
Here it is here, Mr. Chairman. That's his house.
Yeah.
And there's the little reservoir,
Right.
Is that-
and there's an intermittent stream, there's High
Yeah.
Street.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you're right beside the bogs.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right, well,
Never take a look.
yeah.
right.
Yeah, so.
Yes.
yeah, so
This is gonna be familiar country, okay. There was a guy who was trying to put in a, like a 15-unit community up there. And we felt that the stream was flowing, regularly flowing, but he claimed, agreed that it might be intermittent, and it got
Yeah, that was the one that, Jack Williams. That
Yes,
wasn't For
yes.
intermittent or whatever, yeah.
Jack Williams.
And then that got determined to be intermittent luckily. But yeah, so it's still a stream. All
But
right.
yours is the old house, right? It's an
My
older
house
house?
is no, I think
It
it's
was, no,
my house.
okay, that's right, Jamie, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so this must be the old house up here, Oshkowski.
But I think that's my neighbor's house.
Yeah.
This is my neighbor's house. This
Right.
is my house.
Do you know who did that plan? Because you could probably,
This plan,
yeah.
I just got that from downstairs.
Oh, okay, because whoever the engineer is on that, if you were gonna do something following 0710, it'd be better to have, you know, them help you with that. Because they've got all the survey information, all that kind of
Before
stuff.
we get that file, let's see
Right.
if it's even, something that you can do.
Right,
You don't wanna make them jump through all those hoops.
right.
If it's,
So we'll have to schedule a walk
Yeah,
sometime next week probably is
Okay.
do it, and,
yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily have to be there. Usually you're around during the day or?
Depending on the time.
Okay,
If I work or not.
you leave me a number
I do.
on that? Okay, I'll call you, let you know.
Brooke will get a hold of you and you can set up a time.
Okay,
Yeah, that'd probably be the best thing to, that isolated thing looks a little funny, I don't know.
that's a little weird, I
Yeah, it is kind
Jim,
of weird.
yeah, right.
thanks. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. When do you think would be a good day to walk it, next Tuesday or
We
something?
could go Tuesday? Or go-
Next week's no good for me, that's why
Okay,
we're
well,
meeting
actually,
tonight.
our next meeting, so we don't have to do it next week.
Right.
I mean, we could do it the week
Yeah.
after and then,
Are you working tomorrow or Friday?
no,
Just so you could take a ride by, that's all.
yeah. Well, I mean, he's gonna, he's
Thinking about
definitely,
putting a pool in, I'm sure he'd like to swim in it before October.
well, but, if the stream is there, he's gonna have to file. So he's gonna, you know,
From the
I mean,
stream.
definitely have to file. Whether the isolated thing's there or not, he's gonna have to file because the stream's there.
Yeah.
So he still would have to file, so it would be, we won't be too
Yeah,
long.
but then the sooner he knows he has to file, the sooner he can get back before the commission.
Well, I mean, we could tell him right now, you have to file. Depends on where you're gonna put the pool, but I mean, you still have the stream is the main thing to me, not even so much that isolated
Something
thing.
that I'm doing next week, you know,
Oh,
Okay.
I'm
I just didn't
trying
know
to figure
Jan-
it out before I.
Right.
So,
Well, we should go look, and then our next meeting's August 5th, and you should come back in and we'll tell you what we think informally, right?
Yeah.
Unless
Is that
we see
okay?
you there.
yeah, that's-
Okay, all right, we'll do that.
all right, thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Okay, thank you, Patrick.
Take care.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think he was in a hurry. He just kinda wants to know what he can do with it, but I didn't realize there was a stream there and all these other things.
Yeah.
So he's, you know, goes through the middle of his yard.
So, okay, our next item of business is
Okey-doke.
reorganization. So, we,
Brooke, you need to take over the meeting for a minute. You'll have to step down as chair so that we can have nominations and stuff. None of us can do it,
What do I do?
so you just take the meeting over. You need to let her take the meeting for a moment for nominations to chair.
no, I don't think so. I think as chair, I
Can't.
sit until,
No, you don't.
Alan, no. The chair runs the meeting, because the agent can't run the
Whatever.
meeting. And then I just, as soon as the nominations come in, then we act and vote on them, so on and so on. And I'll
So
step
basically,
down.
all we have to do is just say,
It's not how it
we're
works.
reorganizing?
What do you think?
Who do you vote for
I
chairman?
actually don't know.
Select board,
I think that's that, I've seen that happen in other
town
meetings.
administrator takes it over, or whoever is there to be the agent as the current chair steps down, that opens the position. If he's still running the meeting, then the chair position is not open.
The chair
Right.
position is being voted on. Yes, it's not open, but as soon as the vote is over, then it
I'll
becomes.
acquiesce to the hat.
So basically, I think all you have to do is vote for.
Okay,
who
well, you have to
want
make a
chairman,
you
right?
have to nominate. And-
Nominate Savory Moore for chairman.
Okay. Savory Moore's been nominated. Any others?
Needs a second.
Oh, second.
Any others? Okay. That closes, I guess, the nominations.
Okay, that was easy.
And proceed to a vote. All those in favor of having Savory Moore as the chair of the Conservation Commission, please say aye.
All right?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's it.
Okay,
Um,
and vice chair?
I'll make a motion that we have Jim Nowen be vice chair.
I'll accept.
We need a second?
Need a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to have Jim Nowen as the vice chair. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's passed unanimously also. Okay. So, at this point, we transfer.
We're
All
reorganizing.
right. You can stay there.
No. Oh, jeez. You don't want
It's
to
easier.
do that one?
Is
We have
that-
to have
is
a
that
cleaning
as-
crew come
Yeah,
in.
is that as of right now?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because had we followed what Alan said, you would have been the chair for the interim,
Oh,
and it would have come
No,
to
she
me.
just simply is the moderator for the moment, because
Right.
at that time,
There is no chair.
chairman.
okay,
All right.
all right.
So, next order of business, 0 Nell Bonnie, modification to driveway.
So if you remember, we talked about this last week, and,
Yes.
you know, they moved the driveway from Brook Street to Nelbonny, so you wanted him, the engineer just to come in and explain. And the neighbor was downstairs, Larry Walsh, the gentleman who lives across the street.
Mm-hmm.
We talked to when we zoomed in before, and I think he talked to you, so he seemed,
He was super nice. It had nothing
Yeah.
to do with the Conservation Commission. He just wanted us to know that they had a let me explain what the issue was. We went, the board was nice enough to approve the plan the last time we did it virtually. We went to the developer went to the building inspector to get a permit, excuse me, and he was concerned with the fact that the driveway went out onto Brook Street. This is the plan that you had seen that showed the driveway out onto Brook Street. So the shaded area right here was the driveway. He asked, because the address was 0 Nelbonny, that the driveway go out onto Nelbonny.
Yeah, we knew
And
that.
it was simply for emergency, apparently for emergency vehicles.
oh, okay, for the fire, yeah.
So the new plan simply shows the driveway going out onto Nelbonny. It's all within the same footprint that you guys had approved, and so immediately, of course, we sent the old plan and the new plan copies of them to Brooke, just to get your consideration of the matter. The couple downstairs that came earlier just had, they had concerns with, at some point, they had moved there in the mid-70s, they told me, and the town had changed their address from Brook Street to Nell Bonnie at some point, and they had difficulty with home insurance, all kinds of matters, and they just wanted to bring it to my attention to pass on to the home buyer, the seller and the buyer, that they had an issue.
Huh.
So just to let them know that, basically wanted to let them all know that there may be some kind of problems and not, for them not to fall into the same trap that they were in at some point.
So why was their address Brook?
I have
They-
no idea.
I mean, they're way down onto Nell Bonnie.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
I honestly don't know why that was, but they said they got their address changed at some point,
Yeah.
and they apparently didn't have insurance. They were told by their insurance company that they had gone like 5 years without insurance on their home. So
Oh,
I will, I
So
assure you,
yeah.
I will pass that on. to-
whoever buys the lot needs to know all that.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and Brooke had asked, just another one more bit of information, Brooke had asked me earlier when I saw her before the meeting about the relationship of the driveway. There's an existing gravel driveway now, which is about 15 to 20 feet closer to the wetlands than the one that's being proposed. So that'll just be allowed to grow over, and we're gonna move everything out away from that existing driveway so that any of the commission members haven't, concern.
So the new driveway's
Yeah,
going
that-
farther away from the wetland.
I don't think we had any, didn't we discuss this the last meeting?
We sort of did.
I don't
So it's
think
sort
we
of
had
gonna go
any
up,
issue
up
with
the
it.
hill a little bit, farther away from the wetland.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yes, but but it's closer to the wetland than the one that was going out on Brook Street.
I don't think so.
I think it's still within the,
Yeah, it's possible, but very slightly. The wetland curves back a little, so because of that curve, it probably is a little bit closer to the wetland. So, yeah, I would.
What is the proposed substrate for the driveway?
It's gonna be a gravel driveway.
Okay.
It's not paved,
Okay,
and the entire structure is outside the 65 foot.
okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
There wasn't, I know Brooke had concern that there was a neighbor that showed up, and just in case that neighbor's watching or listening or whatever, they had concern about, there is an existing,
Well, right?
a easement. Apparently, this was for the roadway, there was some detention basin or something back here that has now become wetlands. And they were concerned about this being impacted. And I just wanted to assure them again, we talked about that at the last meeting, that we were nowhere near there. And it's the same, it's all within,
Well,
the new driveway's in the same footprint.
historically, actually, that was a river, wasn't,
I think so,
oh, I
yeah.
remember you saw that, yeah.
And they had to put a culvert.
and they put a
Yeah.
culvert in.
It very well could have been, there's a catch basin that discharges
Yeah.
directly into it now.
That's what
So-
that's what it is now.
Yeah.
Was that a different lane neighbor than Larry Walsh?
Yeah, I don't know, they called in, I don't know if you guys.
Oh, no, that was
recall.
Larry.
They-
That was when you
that
talked to,
one?
yep.
Yeah.
Yep, he was the only one.
Yeah, because he
Yeah.
came out when we were there.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, so he was the only one, so it was him, yep,
Nice guy.
yep.
Yeah.
I think we're good, I don't know. Up to you.
I mean, my only concern, I've voiced this before, is the yet to be constructed water line that's well within that 65-foot mark. And I know that the structure, proposed structure, I believe the northwest corner of it basically hits that line, but I'm just curious as to know what the plan is for equipment coming in and out of that area.
Well, we talked about that, I think we touched on that a little bit at the virtual meeting, and the wetlands, the erosion control barrier is gonna be in place, and of course, I mentioned that they're not gonna be able to construct the corner of that foundation without some impact in there. But there's no, it's just enough to be able to, we talked to Mr. Emerson, who's gonna be building the house, about what he needed, and we gave him the minimum amount of space there to be able to.
I guess it might have been Savory who mentioned it I guess we're a couple meetings back now. The point of egress is we were just wondering if beyond the construction, if there were plans to, I mean, knowing that you're gonna have to go directly south, out, to be able to,
So,
from where the the back door will be
Okay.
on that northwest corner.
So you think it'd be done if they do anything in the future, you mean, for like a
Yeah,
deck or?
I'm just, I'm
If they're-
trying to
Yeah.
kind of nip this in the bud now.
Kind of reminds me of the one on Wenham Road a little bit.
It
The
does.
other one that Jamie had on Wenham
Yeah,
Road. You
yeah,
know how
I
tight that was,
Was in
yeah,
front of the commission. for
Yeah,
that one,
yeah,
so very-
yeah.
Yeah, I have a, Jamie knows what we're looking for.
Jamie's
Yeah.
got a pretty good reputation.
Yeah,
does, he's very-
he's kind of come along with this group, so he knows what we expect,
Yes, it
and
definitely does.
he doesn't really come in front of us now with much that we have a lot to say about,
He'll
so,
disrupt to put the well in, and then he'll
Exactly.
make
Right.
it as
Yeah, that's what he had.
least intrusive as possible.
'Cause he did that on Wenham Road.
that he did that in Wenham, the well was all the way in the back.
Does a great job with that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, do we need to vote on the new plan?
I think so.
I think procedurally it'd be just
Just
a
vote on-
matter
vote on the
of if you let us
modification?
do it as a field change and,
Yeah,
And we accept,
or
wouldn't have
or
to
if we
change
need to
the order.
refile, that would
Right.
be the extreme.
Okay,
You don't have to
no,
file.
no.
We can accept it as a field change, or
Yeah.
Brooke can accept it on behalf of the commission.
Yeah.
If you want
All
to
right.
take a vote, we can do that easy.
All right, why don't we just take a vote? Can we make a motion to accept the field change?
So moved.
yeah.
Second?
Put that in the
Second.
file.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to accept a field change to change the driveway at 0 Nelbani, a driveway orientation. All those in favor?
aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Nope, fine, passed unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Okay, thank
you
you.
both.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to, we'll skip the next two pieces of business till after the new hearing,
Yeah.
because we're late.
With a copy of it. That's the announcement. Have to read that.
Oh, it's on here.
Is it also on?
Yeah, it's on the, it's in the agenda.
So it is.
Okay. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:15 PM on Wednesday, July 8th, 2020, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the abbreviated notice of Resource Area Delineation, ANRAD, filed by Northwestern Cranberries, Inc. The applicant is requesting, through the ANRAD, that the Carver Conservation Commission confirm the wetland resource areas on the property. The project is located at 0 Plymouth Street, Carver, Massachusetts, map 48, lot 2, 3B, 6, and 7. All interested parties are invited to attend.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Sarah Stearns from Beals and Thomas, and with me is landowner Eric Weston of Northwestern Cranberries, Inc. Thank you to those members of the commission who could join us on our site visit the other day. I think it was very informative. I'm just gonna,
Well, that's optional now. You
Okay.
can-
just want you to be able to hear me.
I have small ones, actually.
I'll take,
Yeah, I think we sent over some 11 by 7.
I got a bunch of small ones, yeah.
Okay.
Why don't I do that? We'll
And
read those.
I apologize, our plotter was down this week, so we'll have to share the large ones if we need them.
Small one's fine.
Yeah, and I think the,
Yeah.
so the other thing too, Brooke, is this aerial photo I think is pretty helpful for the board.
Oh, the one that, is that the one you had on?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's in the ANRAD.
Oh, yes,
It's
okay.
part of
Yeah.
the filing. But it shows the extent of the property with the red line, red property line, and then the yellow kind of breaks
I showed
down.
it to you, because we saw that the other day, but you didn't see that.
no, I saw it in the email.
Oh,
Yes,
That- I-
our meeting place.
Yeah,
I
I-
used
Oh,
the-
okay.
I used the same figure, yep.
oh, okay.
Yep, so really just, we're showing the entire parcel for everyone's understanding and benefit, but then in the yellow, just the cranberry bogs that are the subject of the ANRAD. And as we discussed, the primary goal of the ANRAD is to distinguish upland bogs versus wetland bogs. And as you know, no work is proposed with this filing. It is just to kind of segment out what the developable standards would be for certain portions of the property. So, one of the things that we touched on, we had a nice walk of the site. It was pretty evident, I think, as we walked out there, and Alan, this is probably more for your benefit, not having the opportunity to walk it, but there's an existing solar array just to the west.
Yeah, I know exactly where it's
Okay,
at.
right on the Middleborough line, so
Yeah.
it's significantly higher.
Right, you're
And
right
then-
across the street from SLT.
Yes, exactly. So,
And then we
and that's where we met. We drove down the road where the motocross is, and it's quite evident that there was a slope there. And just, as a just more common practice, as we kind of get into the nuance of the upland versus wetland bogs, and it's becoming more and more of a topic of discussion, I know, with this commission and others that I've been before. Looking back at aerial photos to describe how the bogs were constructed and see the uniformity of the wooded area that was there in the mid-90s, if I'm speaking correctly, around.
Some and some backfire.
Right. So, I think that, anything post 1973 Wetlands Protection Act, we saw less and less of the traditional peat bogs being built. So, it's very common that a small percentage of some of these generational farms have some component of what we're calling upland bogs today. The more uniformly constructed, more rectangular, slightly higher grade, typically harder to keep underwater, typically all those components. And really, all of those things, we can check those boxes on all of the pieces, these 5 pieces of bogs that we're looking at on this property as well. So we had a great description from Eric too while we were out there about moving water and how the water works and how he's separates it for different grades and how he gets it from one place to the other. So I think that we covered a lot of the questions and we were able to really tackle a lot of those while we were out there. But if anybody has any further questions or comments that we'd like to discuss publicly tonight, we're certainly happy to do that as well.
Anybody?
No questions.
No, I don't have any either.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
the
Pretty thorough.
More
walkthrough.
obvious than a few of the
Yeah.
others we've had.
how the water works makes it
Yeah.
awfully clear.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked on other projects too about where we have a predominantly wetland bog that was then squared off into a adjacent upland. So those aren't quite as black and white, but this,
Right.
I think, was a lot more clear and from our discussion.
Motion to close the hearing?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to close the hearing for 0 Plymouth Street. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None?
Motion to approve the ANRAD for 0 Plymouth Street as drawn.
Okay, second?
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the ANRAD for 0 Plymouth Street as appears on the drawings.
Yeah, let me just get a date. Wow.
Oh, I think we have,
Get a date.
and we do have a file number too.
May
My arms
14th.
are short, Eric.
May 14th.
May
May
14th.
14th.
And we do have a file number. We didn't when we had the hearing.
We have
It's
a DD.
602?
I
602?
have that as well. It is 1260602.
Oh, 602,
Yeah.
yeah. So 12602.
All right, so it's, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the ANRAD for DEP 1260602, 0 Plymouth Street, as drawn on the plan dated June 3rd,
May 14th.
2020. Is that correct?
May 14th.
Well, it says June 3rd on the seal. I'll take May 4th.
Oh, on the
Yeah, I
stamp.
think, go with the date printed on the plan, May 14th.
May 14th.
Yeah.
All right. Second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the ANRAD for 0 Plymouth Street, SC 1260602. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? All right,
Thank you.
we're all set.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you.
All right, thank
See
you.
how easy that was? Two okey dokies.
I like that.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good night.
You too.
Yep.
He's back.
Yep. Yeah, that was, I think that one was much more obvious than a couple of the others that we've had.
The Fuller Street one still bothers me.
Yeah, I know.
All right, moving on, going back to business, upland bog designations. Brooke?
Right, I just, because we're getting so many of these, there's a couple that, I thought maybe we should have gotten, Peter Fletcher maybe to come and check them. So I just didn't know if, and I guess it's probably still gonna be a case-by-case thing, but he is still available to do it, Peter Fletcher. Not till the end of August, he's got a, schedule thing, but I don't know, just to have, if we do have, like, if you were like, not really sure, because we did have him do it for Fuller Street, when, the first Fuller Street ones,
Right.
when the 6-acre ones, so.
Well,
and
do
it
we really
just
have
a
any
lot
that
of-
we're not really sure?
Well, yeah, some of them are just a little, they're not that obvious as the one we just looked at.
Right.
So
The Fuller Street, though, had pictorial evidence going back, historical evidence
Right.
from satellite photos,
Yeah,
which was really the selling point on that
Right,
one. So
right.
that, if those didn't exist,
yeah.
that
yeah.
would have been a good candidate. I
And
think.
most of them, they usually do, do that. So I think it's just to think about, it should, as an option, to just maybe once in a while get an outside consultant if it's not as obvious as it was on this last one. It just seems like that's all,
We have the
they
budget
come
for
to
that?
us now. It seems like every bog is an upland bog.
But you understand that we're under a spending freeze.
But we don't,
Oh, no, the applicant pays for that.
the applicant pays.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just to think about that. Well, we can do it case by case, but I just think it'd be a good idea sometimes to have him, check.
Yeah, well,
All right.
basically, maybe we should state that we reserve the right to request
Right,
a,
Yeah, well, that's in our
Inspection.
bylaws.
right. The
That's
consultant
right.
thing is, yeah.
Right. Just tagging along with that, Sarah mentioned when we were out there, the new guidance from DEP.
Yeah, I know, she didn't forward that to me.
Okay.
I'll find that,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. She said the SMART program changed.
The SMART program changed.
Yeah, okay.
And then
Yeah.
there was something last night in
She must have forgot.
the interim town administrator's report
Yeah,
and the select board meeting, that there's a question now about the tax implications on agricultural land that moves to solar. And,
Well, they're trying to keep it in 61A.
even though it's solar?
Yeah. It's on Capitol Hill. They're trying to not take it out of 61A if you still can use the underside for agriculture.
Oh, so that would be
Okay.
the dual use ones.
So I think it's gonna apply more to the dual use.
It wouldn't
Okay.
apply to ground mounted.
It's gonna apply to ground mounted, although the argument with the ground mounted systems is they're trying to sell vines. So are they still growing something?
the dual-use ones, if the mounts are high enough, it isn't just the vines, they can actually harvest underneath them.
Right,
It would have
right.
to be almost 8 feet off the ground at the
Right.
lowest level, 14 feet at the higher level.
Mhm.
And I think that that's what the ones on Gate Street are supposed to be
They
located.
They are.
And I'm kind of looking forward to
Yeah.
them getting close to finishing
Right.
on that.
But they'll lose the 61A once that's completed, the way the current law is written. So
Yes.
They're trying to change that now within the state.
Oh, to keep
Right.
it
Right.
always.
Keep it in 61A because technically, the solar has a sunset, because it won't last forever,
Right.
and the agriculture is the agriculture, so.
I think the ground mounted, that to me is a little different. I mean, I don't know, did Mike Paddock really harvest those vines much?
Who knows?
well,
It's kind of,
The intention was there.
the intention was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the variety that he grew there was no longer in
Oh.
demand.
Oh,
But that's not his fault.
No,
No,
no, no,
no,
no,
you're
not
right.
at all.
Okay, so, yeah, so.
So-
At the time he was
Still
doing
do
it, there
that.
was a heavy demand for those vines.
That's
Right.
They were classics,
That's right,
but,
so.
So if they could still do that, then that makes sense, it would,
Well, the way the current law is now, the land would stay in 61A if you used the power generated to operate your bog.
Right,
So if the entire
Oh.
operation was contained.
right.
The moment you go outside and you sell that power for distribution, then it becomes a different classification and you lose the 61A.
Mhm.
That's, you know, that's where.
Yeah.
Right,
a lot
and that's
of-
what.
That's where a lot of our conservation trust fund, that.
Yeah, and that's what we
Okay.
talked about with
right.
Mike Milanowski
So
when
that may very well.
we had the meeting about the
change.
budget.
Oh,
Now, do you know, it wouldn't be retroactive, would it?
No,
Okay,
no, that was a question that I had asked, and at least that's not in the language, whether they throw it in there, I mean, who knows what you never know with the legislator when it goes in, what's gonna come out, so.
All right.
Could be nothing that looks like what it went in, you know how this works.
right.
so that would take
But it-
away,
Well, it could never really be retroactive, because then you'd have to give them back a check. So are they gonna get refunds?
right,
And where are the municipalities gonna come up with that money? So I don't see that as ever being the
Right.
case. I would expect it would be a go forward. Or the current classifications that were taken out get put back in, but what was. I just can't see them trying to back it up and put all that back in the horse. I just don't see it. I don't see how you do it. So you
Well-
could take it out of the commercial zoning that it would become, put it back into 61A, and then reduce their tax structure at that point. But you wouldn't back it up 2 years or whatever and write them a check.
Even though the solar operations have a roughly 25-year deadline, they could be replaced.
Yeah, they can,
So,
there's no doubt.
that-
And
so
with
that's-
technology being what it is, the technology will change after,
Yep.
every 2 years, there's a new solar panel that puts out more power with less space.
Right. So I don't think that we would actually lose the use of them, but things will change. So-
Right, I think my point is that the solar has a sunset, even the contract, whereas the agriculture is the agriculture. So
Right.
I
right.
think that's the argument they're trying to go forward with.
Well, I think the reason it was brought up last night at the select board meeting is that if it does change, then that 5 years of back taxes that the town now collects when people go to solar won't happen anymore.
Right.
Oh,
It won't affect what we get because we get it from the fees,
right.
but it will affect what the town gets.
Well, it will affect what the town gets in that relation, but there'll still be solar agreements
Oh, yes.
with those projects, so there'll be all
So they still
different.
make money from the solar?
There'll be different buckets, yeah, there'll be different accounts.
Right.
But this, I think it's staying in 61A is, the whole reason that these growers are going to this is because they're losing their shirt trying to sell cranberries.
Yeah.
So they're faced with what choices? Either we eliminate the upland bogs and turn them into house lots, or you wanna stay in the berry business, so let's put some solar in. Well, it negates like what happened to Dick Wood. In negate, you put 5 acres of solar in, and they reclassify you, and they raise your taxes by $25,000 a year, $30,000 a year. Where have you made it,
Right.
where was the profit in
Right.
doing this?
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
There was no, it's gone, the incentive
Yeah,
is gone.
it's not even a
Why would
wash.
you bother?
yeah.
You know?
Right. That makes sense.
All right, so anyway, the next time you talk to Sarah,
I'll email her,
Just-
get the changes?
yeah, just get that document that the DEP sent
Yeah.
out so we all have it.
Yeah.
Because I still have the one from September of
Right,
3 years ago,
that's
2
what I
years
have too,
ago.
yeah.
With the first guidelines, but
Okay.
I'd like to keep it updated.
Yeah.
All right, next item under business is 134 Main Street, the complaint.
That's the one we went and looked at?
Yeah.
We couldn't really see it.
What?
Well, we had a complaint from a neighbor across the street at 133, about the person, right next to South Meadow Brook. It's right across from Eagle Gas.
It's the,
Oh.
yeah, first house north of where
Yeah.
Meadows,
First house.
Meadow comes in.
Okay, yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
sure we couldn't really see what they were doing, but it looks like he's awful close to the river, like he's cleared like a big open lot. And the neighbor said he stores trucks and things there, so we couldn't really see, but I'm just gonna send him a letter, because it looks like he's gotta be real close to that,
Mhm.
to that brook.
He's not observing the setback that he.
Right.
Yeah, it's all cleared and
Yeah, it's all cleared
and it goes back pretty far
Yeah,
from the
there's some
road.
trees cut
Yeah.
and stuff, so.
I was gonna tell, if we can tell that it's obvious by eye, then it's clearly
Right,
within the,
right. So if we send a letter, then maybe he'll come to the next meeting and we can talk and find out what he's doing and say,
Well,
File.
yeah, ask him nicely
oh, yeah,
and firmly.
yep. I can't remember,
It's the hint.
who the owner was, I wonder if anybody knows him, I ran off the assessor's thing. There's some weird last name. Anyway, I didn't know if anybody knew him.
Some weird,
Yeah, it was a kind of a strange last name.
You know we're on
not an
TV, right?
Anglo-Saxon?
Oh, sorry. He won't be watching.
A unique last.
It was, yeah, weird, sorry. It was, I couldn't, yeah, it was just an odd last name.
Bungo with you.
Like some
That's
farm.
why we love her.
All right. There are no COC requests. Minutes to be read and approved for June 25th.
I've already read them, so I'm ready to make a motion to accept if everybody else is okay with that.
I've read them too.
Make a motion, we accept the Conservation Commission minutes of June 25th, 2020 as printed.
Second.
I'll let Jim read them.
Just a quick scan. Okay.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of June 25th, 2020. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Passed unanimously.
And just one thing that wasn't on the agenda. I think I sort of talked to you a little bit about 17 Wareham.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not on the agenda. You can't.
Well, maybe we shouldn't.
It's not even.
Put it on the agenda for the
Yeah,
5th,
it's not
under
even-
under business.
It's not even here for discussion.
Yeah, just
Right.
put it under for discussion.
Okay,
I was gonna ask the question and I didn't see it, so that's why I didn't.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine. Just put it on there.
yeah, and that's an ongoing thing anyway, so we shouldn't.
And the
All right.
next meeting is August.
5th,
August 5th, yep.
yes. All right, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Okay, second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.